You're standing in Best Buy, staring at the President's Day sale signs, and every TV looks like a great deal. The 65-inch Samsung OLED screaming, $899. Save $1,100. The massive 75-inch TCL for $399. The Hisense with specs that sound like they belong on a $2,000 model. Yours for $279. Here's what nobody's telling you. About half of these deals are traps designed to get you to buy the wrong TV at the wrong price. The other half? Actually worth your money. The trick is knowing which is which. I've spent the last week analyzing Best Buy's current TV deals, cross-referencing real owner experiences, and comparing what you're actually getting versus what the marketing wants you to believe. Some of these deals are legitimately excellent. Others are selling you yesterday's problems at today's discount. Let me show you the difference. Do the deals actually worth your money? Let's start with the winners, because if you're shopping this week, there are genuine opportunities here that won't last. Samsung 65-inch S8 4F OLED, $899. It was $1,999. This is the headliner, and for good reason. You're getting a real OLED panel for under $900. That's significant. The S84F uses Samsung's entry-level OLED technology, which means perfect blacks, pixel-level contrast, and viewing angles that don't turn the picture gray when you're sitting off-center. It's not Samsung's flagship. The S90F and S95F use quantum dot technology that makes them brighter and more colorful. But this is still OLED, real OLED. One Best Buy customer said, upgraded from a 10-year-old Samsung LED. The difference in dark scenes is night and day. Watching movies actually feels like the theater now. Just not a washed-out approximation. Here's what you need to know. The S84F tops out around 600 to 700 nits of brightness. That's fine for a dark or moderately lit room, but if you've got windows behind the couch and afternoon sun streaming in, you'll see reflections. For gaming, you get 120 Hz at 4K, which handles the PS5 and Xbox Series X perfectly. Samsung's Tizen OS isn't my favorite smart platform in 2026, but it works fine if you're already in the Samsung ecosystem or don't mind the occasional ad. The real question is whether OLED makes sense for you. If you watch a lot of news channels with static logos or use your TV as a computer monitor, burn-in is a legitimate concern. Modern OLEDs have gotten better at preventing it, but it's still a consideration over 5 to 7 years of use. For movie watching, sports, and gaming that doesn't involve 10 hours straight of the same game interface, this is an exceptional deal. Bottom line, at $899, you're paying half what this TV launched for 4 months ago. If you've been waiting for OLED to become affordable, this is that moment. But buy it for a room where you control the lighting, not your sun-drenched living room. TCL 75-inch F35 Series, $399, was $599. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, TCL's reputation. 5 years ago, TCL was the TV equivalent of a lottery ticket. You might get a great panel. You might get a disaster. In 2026, the story's different for their mid-range and up models, but the F35, this is firmly budget territory, and you need to know what you're buying. The F35 is a basic LED TV with a 60 Hz panel and Fire TV built in. It does 4K, it has HDR, though without proper brightness or local dimming. HDR on this TV is like adding racing stripes to a minivan. The picture looks fine in a bright room watching daytime TV or sports. Colors are reasonably accurate. Motion handling is acceptable for cable content. Here's what several owners on Reddit reported. Software bugs, especially in the first few months. Apps freezing or crashing. The remote occasionally losing sync. One owner said, "Bought this for the basement. Picture's good enough for football, but I've had to unplug it and plug it back in maybe 10 times in 6 months to fix crashes. For $400 and this size, I can live with it." The F35 sweet spot is as a secondary TV, guest bedroom, basement rec room, somewhere that you're not watching for 3 hours every night and where premium picture quality isn't the priority. At $399 for 75 inches, you're paying about $5.30 per inch of screen. That's actually competitive. Just don't expect it to last 10 years or to handle dark movie scenes without looking muddy. The catch nobody mentions: TCL's customer service is, let's say, hit or miss. Some people report quick replacements. Others get caught in email loops for weeks. Buy this from Best Buy specifically so you have their return window and can add Geek Squad protection if you want the peace of mind. At this price point, a $70 2-year extended warranty might actually make sense. Bottom line, this isn't a TV you'll love. It's a TV that serves a purpose at a price that makes sense. If that's what you need, it's worth $399. If you're planning to use this as your main TV, keep reading. And Hisense 65-inch, A6 Series, $279, was $479. The Hisense A6 is the kind of deal that looks too good to be true, and in some ways, it is. A 65-inch 4K TV for under $300? That's remarkable. It's also important to understand exactly what corners Hisense cut to hit that price. This is an entry-level LED TV with basic 60 Hz refresh rate, Fire TV built in, and 8DR support that's mostly for spec sheet purposes. The panel uses direct LED backlighting without local dimming, which means dark scenes show up as various shades of dark gray rather than actual black. Viewing angles are narrow, sit more than 30 degrees off-center, and colors start washing out. Build quality feels appropriately budget. Lots of plastic, relatively lightweight, stands that work but don't inspire confidence. Leaked Consumer Reports estimates that about 20% of Hisense TVS experience problems within the first 5 years. That's nearly double Sony's 11% failure rate. Now, those statistics cover Hisense's full lineup, including budget models like this one, and the failure modes vary. Some are panel defects, some are software issues, some are power supply failures. One Walmart shopper reported, 3 months in, screen started showing white/negative colors after about 5 minutes of viewing. Had to power cycle constantly, returned it, and went with something else. But here's the counterpoint. Plenty of people buy Hisense A Series TVS and use them for years without issues. For every person reporting problems, there are several who say, "Picture's great for the price." No complaints. The question is whether you're comfortable with that level of risk for the savings. Here's who this makes sense for. Someone who needs a big, cheap TV for a space where picture quality and longevity aren't critical. A rental property, a garage gym where you're watching YouTube while on the treadmill. Anywhere that 65 inches for $279 is the entire value proposition. Just know that at this price, you're not buying heirloom quality. You're buying a functional appliance with an elevated risk of needing replacement in 3 to 4 years instead of 7 to 10. Bottom line, this is a calculated gamble at a price where the gamble might be worth it. Buy it with a credit card that extends warranties, or add Best Buy's protection plan, and have realistic expectations about what a $279 TV can deliver. Samsung 55-inch QN80F Neo QLED, $899, was $1,299. Now we're getting into the sweet spot where you're paying real money for real performance. The QN80F sits in Samsung's Neo QLED lineup, which means mini LED backlighting with quantum dots for color. This is advanced TV technology at a mid-tier price. Mini LED means hundreds of independently controlled dimming zones creating localized brightness control. Dark scenes actually look dark instead of washed out. Bright highlights pop without blooming into surrounding areas. The QN80F reportedly has more dimming zones than last year's QN80F model, though Samsung doesn't publish exact numbers. Based on Arding's testing of similar models, you're probably looking at 500 to 700 zones for the 55-inch version. The quantum dot layer produces genuinely impressive color volume. Reds look red, not orange-red. Your greens have depth. Blues don't lean purple. For sports, where grass and jerseys need to look right, and for nature, documentaries where color accuracy matters, this technology makes a visible difference compared to standard LED. Gaming specs are solid, 120 Hz at 4K VRR to eliminate screen tearing, low input lag measured around 10 milliseconds in game mode. The Samsung Vision AI Guide feature automatically adjusts picture settings based on what you're watching and your room lighting, which works better than I expected. You're not constantly diving into menus to tweak things. One owner who upgraded from a 2019 Sony said, "Side-by-side comparison isn't even fair. The Samsung is brighter, colors are richer, motion is smoother. I was skeptical about mini LED being worth it. I'm not skeptical anymore." The downsides. This is still an LCD, and so viewing angles aren't as good as OLED. Sit too far off center and contrast starts degrading. Samsung's processing occasionally goes aggressive on motion smoothing, giving some content that soap opera effect until you dial it back in settings. And at 55 inches, this is a relatively small TV in 2026. If you've got the wall space and budget, the 65-inch model at $1,199, down from $1,699, gives you more immersive viewing without significantly compromising picture quality. Bottom line, if you want premium picture quality without OLED prices or burn-in concerns, the QN80F at $899 is one of the best values Best Buy has right now. This is a TV you'll be happy with for 5 to 7 years, and one that actually justifies its sale price. Soar Roku 55-inch Plus Series QLED Mini LED, $399, was $499. Here's a dark horse candidate that doesn't get enough attention: Roku's own brand TVS. The Plus series combines QLED color technology with mini LED backlighting at a price that undercuts almost everyone else. At $399 for 55 inches, you're getting technology that was premium 2 years ago. The Roku OS is the selling point here. If you've used a Roku streaming stick, this is the same interface, same simplicity, same universal search across streaming services. For people who find Samsung's Tizen or LG's WebOS cluttered or confusing, Roku's straightforward approach is refreshing. It just works. No ads on the home screen. No pushing Samsung's own streaming service. Just your apps, organized the way you want them. Picture quality punches above its price. The mini LED backlighting provides better contrast than standard LED, though not as refined as Samsung's or TCL's higher-end models. Peak brightness hits around 700 to 800 nits, which is respectable for this price range. Colors are accurate without being oversaturated. It's not going to blow you away, but it looks good. The gaming situation is acceptable. 60 Hz native with a 120 Hz game accelerator mode that upscales 1080p content. Real gamers will want native 120Hz at 4K, which this doesn't have. But for casual gaming or previous-gen consoles, it's fine. One Best Buy reviewer said, replaced a 2015 Samsung. The Roku OS is so much faster and easier to navigate. Picture quality is noticeably better, especially in bright scenes. Only complaint is the sound is tinny, but that's fixable with a soundbar. The reliability question. Roku has been making TVS through partnerships with TCL for years, and recently launched their own Plus Series. Early returns are positive, but we don't have 5-year data yet. The 1-year warranty is standard. Roku's customer service has a good reputation in the streaming space, which hopefully translates to TV support. Bottom line, at $399, this is strong value for someone who prioritizes ease of use and solid picture quality over gaming specs or absolute peak performance. It's the TV I'd recommend to my parents or anyone who just wants something that works without fuss. The deals to avoid. Not every sale is worth your money. Some of these deals are clearance prices on TVS that were overpriced to begin with. Store discounts on models with known issues that Best Buy is trying to move. Any 43-inch 4K TV under $200, I know it's tempting. A 4K TV for $179? Brands like Insignia, Westinghouse, and On hitting rock-bottom prices? Here's why these are almost always a mistake. At this size and price point, manufacturers cut every possible corner. You're getting reject panels that didn't meet quality control for better brands. Processing chips from 3 years ago. Build quality that feels flimsy because it is flimsy. And 4K, that's technically 3,840 by 2,160 pixels. But with processing so weak that you'd be hard-pressed to tell it apart from 1080p. One frustrated Walmart shopper said, bought an On 43-inch for $169, lasted 8 months before the power supply died. Picture was always dim and colors looked washed out. Returned it and spent $300 on a TCL. Should have just done that from the start. The math doesn't work either. That $200 TV breaks in 2 years? You've spent $100 per year? A $400 TV that lasts 6 years? That's $67 per year. Buy cheap, buy twice isn't just a saying. At this size and budget, you're better off buying a quality 1080p TV or saving up for a proper 4K model in the $300 to $400 range. Bottom line, skip any TV under $200 unless you're buying it for a very specific purpose where you know it's essentially disposable. Otherwise, it's false economy. Samsung 70-inch Crystal Series, $399, was $599. The Crystal Series is Samsung's entry-level lineup, and at first glance, $399 for a 70-inch Samsung seems incredible. Here's what several reviewers and owners have noted. The Crystal technology is marketing speak for standard LED with edge backlighting, no local dimming, no quantum dots, no mini LED. It's basic 2020 technology in a 2025 package. The biggest complaint is that whites look gray. Because there's no local dimming, dark scenes are muddy and bright scenes lack pop. Colors are okay, but not impressive. Motion handling on sports and action movies shows noticeable blur. And while it's a Samsung, so the build quality is reasonable, you're paying a Samsung premium for entry-level specs. RTINGS tested the 43-inch and 50-inch versions and noted brightness is weak compared to competitors. Several users remarked the whites are more gray than white. At this price and size, you're better off with the TCL F35 mentioned earlier, or spending a bit more for better technology. Bottom line, This is Samsung trading on their brand name to sell you a TV that doesn't justify the Samsung badge. There are better 70-inch options at this price. TCL 4 Series and below. Remember earlier when I said TCL's reputation has improved? That applies to the 5 Series and up. The 4 Series and 3 Series are still problematic. Multiple owners report software bugs that never get fixed, panels with uniformity issues, dirty screen effect during sports, and reliability problems within the first 2 years. One Reddit user explained, TCL 4 Series lasted 18 months before the backlight started flickering. Contacted support, they sent a technician who replaced 3 boards with no improvement, finally got a refund check, but the process took 2 months. If you're looking at TCL, the 5 Series is the minimum viable option. Anything below that, and you're better off with Hisense or Roku at the same price point. Bottom line, TCL's budget models are budget for a reason. The savings aren't worth the frustration. What to look for in a TV deal? Before we wrap up, here are the factors that actually matter when evaluating whether a Best Buy TV deal is real or just marketing. Panel technology actually determines picture quality. OLED gives you perfect blacks and infinite contrast. Mini LED with local dimming gets you close at lower cost with higher brightness. Standard LED without local dimming is fine for bright rooms but struggles with dark scenes. Edge-lit LED is the budget option that compromises picture quality for lower prices. If a TV is on sale and the listing doesn't mention Mini LED, QLED, OLED, or local dimming zones, it's standard LED. That's not automatically bad, but know what you're buying. Brightness matters more than you think. A TV with 700 plus nits peak brightness can handle bright rooms without washing out. A TV that tops out at 300 to 400 nits will struggle with glare. If you're watching during the day with windows open, brightness is more important than contrast. If you're watching at night in a dark room, contrast and black levels matter more. Best Buy's listings rarely include brightness specs. Check startings.com or similar sites for actual measurements before buying. Smart TV platform is daily experience. You'll interact with your TV's operating system every single time you turn it on. Roku is simple and fast. Google TV is customizable but sometimes cluttered. Samsung Tizen has everything, but it can feel overwhelming. Fire TV works but pushes Amazon content aggressively. Try the interface in-store if possible. A TV with a frustrating OS will annoy you for years. Warranty and return policy are insurance. Best Buy's return window is 15 days for most TVs, 30 for Elite Plus members. That's your safety net. Don't skip unboxing and testing right away. Mount it, run it through its paces, check for dead pixels or uniformity issues, and test all HDMI ports. Extended warranties on TVS under $500 are usually a waste. On TVS $800 plus, Geek Squad protection might be worth it depending on the brand and model. Samsung and Sony generally don't need it. TCL, Hisense, and budget brands? Maybe. The verdict. Here's the honest truth about Best Buy's current TV deals. The Samsung S8 IV OLED at $899 is the standout value if you want premium picture quality. The TCL 75-inch F35 at $399 makes sense for big, cheap screens in secondary spaces. But the Samsung QN80F at $899 delivers mini LED performance for mid-tier money, and the Roku Plus Series at $399 gives you easy-to-use technology with solid picture quality. Skip the sub-$200 no-name TVS, the Samsung Crystal Series, and anything from TCL's bottom-tier lineup. Those deals save you money up front and cost you more in frustration later. The President's Day sale ends February 16th. which means you've got less than 3 days to make a decision. Best Buy's no rain checks policy means once stock is gone, these prices disappear. But don't let urgency push you into the wrong purchase. Better to wait for the next sale than buy a TV you'll regret for the next 5 years. One more thing. If you see a deal that seems perfect but didn't make this list, search the model number on Reddit, AVS Forum, and RTINGS before buying. 15 minutes of research can save you hundreds in returns or replacement costs. Your TV is what you stare at for hours every day. Make it count. So here's my question. Are you shopping for a main TV that needs to be perfect, or a secondary screen where good enough actually is good enough? That answer changes which deals make sense for you. Drop a comment and I'll point you in the right direction. And if you want to avoid wasting money on your next major tech purchase, whether it's TVS, laptops, or anything else, make sure you're subscribed. Because the truth about deals is usually hidden in the fine print.